If you like the sweet science, get ready to talk boxing on the Gloved Fist podcast with top boxing writers Frank Latirzo and Jack Hirsch. Frank, a former amateur boxer out of Philadelphia, writes for NY Fights and can be seen on the Boxing Channel. Jack, an amateur boxer who competed in the New York Golden Gloves, was a 6-term president of the Boxing Writers Association. And now, here's Frank Latirzo and Jack Hirsch.
And we're back. Welcome to Glove Fist. My name is Frank Latirzo, former writer, former writer, full-time observer, joined by former 6-term president of the Boxing Writers Association, Mr. Jack Smiling Hirsch. Jack, let me just tell you this before you get it out. We got a lot to talk about. We have a guest. Let's get the football out of the way. My Dolphins are who I thought they were. I said 7 games was the max they would win. They'll get hammered by the Patriots next week because the Pats need the game for the number 1 seed. And I'll just make 2 quick predictions. There are no 2 bigger locks in football than this New Year's Day and New Year's Eve. Indiana will mutilate Alabama and beat them as bad as Georgia did a couple weeks ago. And Ohio State will run away from Miami. 2 guaranteed locks.
No, Keith Engel, who does the podcast with me, Weekend Playbook, he's picking Miami on an upset over Ohio State, and Keith is an expert, compared to me and compared to you. I mean, he really knows the college game, and he sees Miami pulling off the shocker.
Well, when Miami loses, you'll see that Frank is the real expert, and Keith has to take a backseat to me, okay?
Okay, but Frank, I love talking football, but it's kind of a somber note with what we heard on the news today. And I don't mind getting back to football. I always love talking it with Anthony Joshua, the couple of members on his team. I would assume anyone listening to this show has heard the news that we're not breaking it. They were in Nigeria. There was an accident. The 2 members of his team who were in the front seat got killed in the accident. Joshua suffered some injuries, but he's going to be fine. But, I mean, something like that's life-altering. A couple of members.
I don't know how he bounces back, Jack. It's horrific.
Mentally. So, and you want to know something? At this moment, it's so unimportant what happens to Anthony Joshua's career. I mean, he's set for life financially. He escaped permanent harm on the accident, and the 2 members of his team who he's close with, are gone suddenly without warning.
Yeah, his trainer, one of his best friends. I don't know how he escapes it. It's horrific. And what I read further, Jack, that the car they were traveling in suffered a blowout in the right front tire, and because of the blowout, they careened into a parked truck. And that's what happened. And I've seen that there's pictures of the car or the SUV they're in, and it's mutilated. Josh was lucky he walked away.
Right. And I don't know where you like me, Frank, in this regard, because we never discussed it. Sometimes when you hear something like that happens, you want to make sense of it, and you're nearly hoping they were traveling 120 miles per hour, so it could have been avoided. You hate the idea that they were maybe doing everything the right way, and then this happened, a blowout, so on. I mean, we don't know the full details yet, but it's terrible news. And it's ironic that late at 7:20, we're having a guest who could potentially be a future world heavyweight champion, Pryce Taylor, unbeaten in 10 fights. It's going to be our guest 7:20, and it's ironic, on a day like
I see this. Joe Bergman just put up that he heard Joshua's son was in the car. Joe, I didn't see that. I thought there were only 3 people in the car, but your information is later, so maybe there's something to that. So Josh was really lucky there.
Yeah, more's going to come out, and you don't know whether they were wearing the seat belts or what the whole circumstance. But in any event, no matter what, it's a terrible tragedy, and our hearts go out first and foremost.
It's just it's horrible news when you hear something like that.
Yeah,
it's just and Jack, I hope it was just an act of nature where the tire just blew out. I hope that nothing else comes out that they were doing something careless. Look, none of us can control a tire blowing out. That happens. And if that's the case, it was just their time. And apparently God did not want Anthony Joshua yet.
Yeah, well, and doing this show, obviously we're going to move on during this show and talk about other things, and we're going to talk about it very enthusiastically. And there's no easy way to do that, Frank, because on one end, I feel a little guilty talking about, boxing in general. You kind of want to, even though you're not mourning personally for something like this, you want to pay your respects by maybe not talking about any other topic in boxing. But of course, we have to.
No, life has to go on, Jack. Life has to go on. It has to go on. Look, I feel guilty whenever there's a death in boxing and I read a fighter died a couple of days after the fight, and I sit back and I question myself, why do I love this sport so much?
Yeah.
But we move on. Time does heal all wounds. Our hearts and prayers are out to Anthony Joshua. I don't know how it affects his career. I don't think that's important right now. I just know one thing. He's going to take this with him a long time. Now, to real boxing. Inoue fought this weekend, the monster. Did you see the fight?
I did see it. I mean, I saw part of it, the clips. I was going to watch the whole thing. It's on the Zone. And then I'm blindsided. I didn't realize it was pay-per-view. I'm not paying pay-per-view for that. But I subscribe to the Zone, and they showed event highlights. So I watched the event highlights.
So we saw the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. And his opponent, I got to pronounce the name, terrible thing. They were gearing towards a fight, with Inoue and his potential opponent, Nakayama. I hope I'm pronouncing the name the right way, wins a highly disputed decision. That ruins the super fight to me. There's no intrigue anymore. The intrigue was there might actually be another fighter, ironically from Japan, unbeaten, a monster himself, who was going to maybe be able to beat Inoue. It kind of reminded me of, how do we talk when Wilfredo Gomez, Carlos Zarate, Alfonso Zamora, that type of showdown fight, but maybe more intense than that. Maybe, Wilfredo Gomez, when he was in the big fights, the luster came off that super Japanese fight.
Because of Nakayama won a disputed decision.
To win a highly disputed decision.
Right.
Dixon, who covered the fight for Boxing Scene magazine, someone I respect a great deal. He thought it was just a flat out bad decision.
Oh, and that puts a bad taste in people's mouths when it comes to the decisions. And that's why we have some of the attitude that we have with the fans, that they don't. We live in a day, Jack, where we don't trust anything now. And Joe Bergman, I see that you wrote that Inoue and Bam you think will happen next. I hope not, because I think Inoue's too big for Bam, and I think that would be the difference.
You thought Canelo was too big for Crawford when you first heard about the fight. Come on, Frank, stop it. You're a traditionalist. You're an old timer. You didn't even blink in the past when a bantamweight, would fight a featherweight, because there's no.
I think in this case, Jack, because Inoue fights big, I think that will be a problem for Bam. Bam is moving up. He's clearly the smaller guy, and Inoue is the type guy who imposes his physicality on you. Although the other night, I did gain some respect for him as a boxer, because I liked the way he was using his jab and backing up and drawing his opponent in. And it's like, as he's moving up in weight, Jack, it's sort of like Duran a little bit, where he's not trying to go through guys. He's outboxing them and fighting more as a counterpuncher in spots. He was very aggressive, but he picked his spots.
Yeah, well, Inoue's the complete package, but so is Bam Rodriguez. So it would be a super fight when you think of it. I mean, what a great matchup. And it would be pretty much of an even money matchup. Inoue might even be favored. I mean, whether he should be favored or not.
Inoue will definitely be favored, Jack. He will definitely be favored. He will definitely be favored.
I'm not that sure, because if you saw Bam Rodriguez's last fight, completely
Bam is a great
dominated.
technician. I love him. I just don't think he's got the guns to go up and beat a newie.
Well,
That's
yeah,
that's
well,
my opinion.
yeah, well, we'll see. I mean, it gets to the point where both guys need a mega fight, and you gotta, and those are the type of fights that we need to be made.
Jack, real quick, since there's not before our guest comes on, did you see that Max Kellerman posted his top 10 all-time pound-for-pound fighters? Did you
Yeah,
see that?
I saw it, Frank. I get the
I have
feeling that
respect for his opinion, but you know something? After seeing that list, I'm sorry, I have to question it. I mean, I beat up Mike Silver on this program sometimes for the way he ranks guys. I mean, Manny Pacquiao, number two.
well, he explained it. What I like about Max, what I like about him, I like a lot about Max. He's really a good guy, a good person.
Right.
But as a professional, he likes to go out of the box. He's not scared to go out of the box, and his thinking is somewhat unorthodox. And Max had Sugar Ray Robinson number one, so he has
He
your
did.
guy number one, no complaint. Now Pacquiao number two, you might say, whoa, that's a stretch. Max's logic is this: Pacquiao moved up all these weight divisions. So Max thinks of him as a little tiny guy who did these incredible things moving up in weight over the years and still able to fight well at age 46.
Okay. I mean, that's a cogent case, but I mean, he was also knocked out 3 times. There are questions about him as far as PEDs that nobody feels comfortable talking about, but most people say it quietly. I mean, he was involved in a couple bad decisions. I never thought he got the better of Marquez. I thought Marquez got the better of their series. You know, it's like he clearly lost to Mayweather. It's like, I know the size is a factor. I mean, look, I'm not going to call him crazy, Jack, but I just think there are guys that have a better case than Manny Pacquiao. I mean, Floyd Mayweather above Roberto Duran. What's the logic there? He's undefeated.
I mean, if you ended Duran's career after the first Sugar Ray Leonard fight, yeah, I mean, he's absolutely ahead of Mayweather. Absolutely. What are we supposed to do? And I'm playing devil's advocate to an extent now. You know, I'm playing half devil's advocate. Half of it, I believe, half of it's devil's advocate. What are we supposed to do? Not count these other losses when we rate a guy's greatness? For example, what added to the Ali legend more than anything else? Knocking out Foreman and Zaire, right? That took Ali to the highest point.
Nobody considered him in the GOAT conversation until
right.
that.
But if Ali got stopped by Foreman, we still would have rated Ali ahead of Foreman. We would have disregarded it and said, he was old, he was past his peak. And that argument would have had some merit. So why are we giving these fighters free passes when they lose fights? They're past their peak. But when they beat someone, past their so-called prime, we give them full credit.
But Jack, I also think it depends on what they do after that. I mean, Ali did hold the title 4 years more after he beat Foreman, and he beat Frazier again. So he clearly wasn't past his peak. It may not have been his peak, but he was still a great fighter until he left Manila.
Okay, but
Jack, personally, look, I don't count when the guy's totally past his peak and he's fighting for money. I don't count that against him. I don't count, Larry Holmes and Berbick beating Ali. I don't count McBride and Danny Williams beating Tyson. I don't hold Camacho and Terry Norris against Leonard because that wasn't the best they were. We saw the best. Some guys get out at the right time and they don't.
But Frank, there are two ways to rate a guy. One is peak value and the other is career achievement. Okay? And if you look at career achievement, Mayweather is up there, 50-0. If you look at peak value, you could say, no, he wouldn't beat Leonard. He wouldn't beat Crawford. He wouldn't beat Hearns. And you can kind of rate him along those lines.
So
If
here's
you
the
want
perfect,
bigger and the other guys are better, that's the naked eye.
Jack. Last week I asked you, we touched on this a little bit. I asked you, who would you pick to win between Terrence Crawford and Emil Griffith? And you said Terrence Crawford. Okay. But we both know Emil Griffith's record like the back of our hand. And as much as I love Crawford, and I agree with you, I think that he would have defeated Griffith by decision. I mean, when it comes to ranking them, so it's like, what means more, career accomplishment, or like you said, if they meet at their peak? That's why some guys like Leonard doesn't have a whole lot of fights, but he's got those big wins and he had that career peak. So I guess it all depends. I think Crawford beats Griffith. Do I rank him ahead of him? I don't know. I wouldn't consider the reach.
The nature of the sport is different. We know Griffith fought a lot more quality fighters in his career than Crawford did. His quality was better, point blank.
His quality may be better than 99% of the guys that ever put gloves on.
Right, exactly. You know, well, it's interesting. Ring Magazine, Cliff Rhodes, wonderful writer for Ring Magazine, he did something like a top 100 fighters of all time, but it wasn't based on the eye test or opinions. It was on analytics, strictly on analytics. And Griffith was the 5th greatest of all time. That's a shocker on analytics, looking at the amount of contenders you beat and, you know, the point system set up. So, you know, that was kind of interesting.
So who's the greater runner, Jack? The guy that runs the 100 one time or two times in 9 flat, or the guy that won 3 gold medals but never ran under 9.5?
Well, obviously, to me, it's the quicker guy is better. Put it that way. But that's the thing. What I was saying, it's peak value. That's what Crawford rates extremely high on peak value. Extremely high as an all-time great, because Crawford against anyone has a shot at beating anyone in boxing history. He has a shot.
So that's why Robinson, to me, ranks number 1, Jack, because he has both.
Right.
He has accomplishments and peak value, and what he brings to the ring, nobody else brought, in my opinion.
Well, what I liked about Robinson, and no one mentions it, that adds to his greatness, are the last few years of his career, when he would always lose to virtually always lost to rated fighters, but always went the distance.
But you just said we count that against him now.
Well, no, but you could count them in this. Count this. They never stopped them, and these were good fighters.
You're right.
Contenders.
He really was never stopped.
No, the Maxim fight I don't count as.
Not in a conventional stoppage.
No, not at all. No, he was winning the fight easy at the end of 13 rounds. But the different elements, a lot of it's being in the right place at the right time. If that version of Sugar Ray Robinson was going against Michael Spinks, who was holding the light heavyweight title, now we'd have a different fight. Who knows who would have won? I'm not making a prediction, but it wouldn't have been one-sided like beating Joey Maxim, who was a good champion, by the way, who's a Hall of Famer. Maxim was a good champion.
As much as we love Robinson, Jack, as much as I love Robinson, if Archie Moore, who got the title next, would have been there, Robinson would not beat him. Even though if you look at the fight, well, when Robinson, before he got tired, Jack, he actually handled Maxim better than Archie Moore did.
Yeah, I'm looking at the time, and we're just about close to having heavyweight Pryce Taylor on here. Frank, we might be having a future world heavyweight champion on. You got to treat him with respect, Frank.
Jack, do you think I won't? Do you think I won't?
You got a little carried away with Teofimo Lopez Sr.
Well, because he said some crazy things.
No,
I'm not going to let him get by with that.
And it's out into tomorrow. And I love the Lopezes. They're challenging everyone. They're going after Shakur Stevens. He called Boots Ennis out. And that shook everyone up. Boots, the guy who...
Let's see if he gets by Shakur before he starts looking Boots' way.
Okay, do we have Pryce Taylor on there, Brian, our producer? We're asking. Okay, as soon as Pryce is ready, bring him on, Brian. Okay, otherwise Frank and myself are just going to talk.
Jack, back to Tiafimo. Let him beat Shakur Stevenson, which I'm not sure that's going to happen. Let him see if he can get by him before he starts looking at Boots. And by the way, since this is our last show of the year, we better see Boots and Virgil Ortiz in 2026.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. You know, we need fights like that. We need fights like that. And I would like Boots in that fight. I do not have to think about my prediction. I'm
No, I like
sold
Boots
on
too.
I'm sold on Boots, but Boots' defense, it kind of bothers me a little because
He
he
gets
is
hit.
hittable. That's why I would have picked Crawford to beat him, because when Crawford opened up, he would withstand Boots' attack enough where Boots wouldn't get him out of there, and then Boots would start getting hit with big punches. And I'm not sure Boots would have survived.
Crawford is a level or two above Boots until we see more from Boots. Since
Until
this is the last show of the year, Jack, real quick, who would be your fighter of the year?
Oh, well, that you got to give it to Crawford. I mean, he's the consensus.
More than Inoue?
Yeah, but his win over Canelo, the way it created a buzz, the pressure, the high-profile situation. Inoue, did he fight 3 times this year?
4 times.
4 times. I got to think it out because in 1971,
And I think all the guys were undefeated except one.
Yeah, there was a controversy as far back as 1971 when Smokin' Joe beat Ali. He only fought once. Some people said he shouldn't be fight of the year because he only fought once. And my argument was, but he won the biggest fight in boxing history. You know,
Which
when I had
Crawford did not do, even though it's a big win.
You know, when I had a hard time picking the fight of the year, and a friend of mine talked me out of my vote. He talked me out of it to vote for his choice, and I shouldn't have let him talk me out of it. The year Roy Jones beat James Toney was the same year George
94.
Foreman knocked out Michael Mora. I voted for Foreman because my friend talked me out of Jones, but on reflection, I kind of wish I hadn't, because Jones was so masterful against a much greater fighter. You know,
I like your vote, Jack. I would have voted for Foreman there, no doubt. Winning the title at 45 after not fighting for a decade, beating an undefeated guy who beat Holyfield, who beat Foreman to win it, as good as Jones and Tony were. I think that Foreman deserves that. Now, look, you're kind of talking me into Crawford. You know he's my guy, and I'm thinking, boy, can I give it to a guy that only fought 1 time? And it's like him beating Canelo was not the event that Frazier beating Ali was.
I'm listening to you, Frank. What I'm doing now, actually, I'm texting Pryce Taylor's manager. You sometimes have to do it with the fighters, even though Pryce confirmed he was coming on. I just want to be sure what is what. Pryce is acting like he's already the world heavyweight champion. He's blowing you off, Frank. He's blowing
me off, huh?
Yeah, I mean, he's blowing us off, but I have too much of an ego to admit that. Okay, let me give. Okay, where is Pryce? I'm sending an email. A text message, I'm sorry. Text message to Pryce's manager, and that is that. Where is Pryce? Okay,
so anyhow, Crawford has a case for fight of the year, Jack. Let's see. He basically jumped up 3 classes. He beat an undisputed champ who was at least ranked 5th pound for pound, even though I don't like that ranking. I mean, if Crawford gets it, I definitely won't be upset. But I kind of wish these guys would fight more. And I think if he would have fought more, and I know the reasons why he didn't, but I just think we need somebody to set a precedent for these guys to fight. Because the interest in the sport is waning, Jack. It's waning.
It's a business thing. I said a while ago for Shakur Stevenson, for example, he's finally getting a big fight. I mean, good for him. It's finally picked up. But he had to wait a lot of years. My plan always was, when he was fighting for top ranker Crawford, fight a few times a year. You'll get the same amount of money. Fight every other month the way the old timers did. You're not going to be given the hardest opponent.
Who's going to televise it, Jack?
Oh,
that's the problem. TV controls it. Who's going to televise it?
TV. If they get a guy who's constantly going to fight, people are going to want to tune in because they're used to the guy fighting. Oh, once a month, Crawford is fighting tonight. You know what would have been the greatest gimmick? You go on I hate the term bum of the month that was used by Joe Louis, but a fight of the month tour. You have a press conference, an elite fighter. I am fighting every month of the year. This for 1 year, every month, to set an example what fighters should do. You would love it, Frank. I would love it. Everyone would love it. And and a couple would be pay-per-view fights. One of them would be a mega fight.
I just think the fans are conditioned today, Jack, so they just want to see undefeated top guy against top guy. So I'm not sure that would work, but it doesn't happen today, Jack, because TV controls it. So where are they going to fight? It's not the 80s and 90s. Forget about the 50s and 60s.
I'm calling Pryce Taylor now, but I'm talking. But if I get him on suddenly, I'm going to find out what's going on. I'm calling Pryce Taylor here. Let me get him on. I have him on speaker here.
Okay.
Okay. Speaker. Let's see what Pryce.
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail. The person you're trying to reach is not available. At the tone,
he don't want to talk to you, Jack.
When you have finished recording, you may.
I hung up. I'm not leaving a message here.
He doesn't want to talk to you, Jack, because you're probably calling too much.
These guys, I don't understand these fighters. He has my number. Call me up if you have a hard time with the link. I don't get this. Remember when Muhammad Ali was supposed to go on the Johnny Carson show and he didn't show, and Carson was furious and he said Ali would never be invited back to the show. Young fans wouldn't even know who Johnny Carson is. Yeah, I see. Yeah, Joe, I mean,
speaking of that, do you know?
Right. That's what they call him.
Do you know Ali was on the Dick Cavett show March 15th, 1971? He said Dick Cavett was the only one that offered him to come on after he lost the fight. In fact, his jaw is still swollen when he's on the Cavett show talking about the fight 7 days ago.
No, I can't. Cavett wasn't the only one. Because Ali,
Jack, that's what Ali said. That's what Ali said. You're the only one that wanted to talk to me after a loss.
Oh, yeah, but it was so soon after the loss he would say that. But Ali's popularity really kind of skyrocketed after that fight.
But, Jack, imagine he was on 7 days to the day after the fight of the century, March 15th. He's wearing a blue suit, his jaw's swollen. And Cavett says to him, "What happened? What's the matter?" He goes, "I tripped over too many left hooks."
Yeah. Well, 3 days after Ali lost to Holmes, what was that?
That's me.
Pryce is calling you.
No, a friend of mine is calling me.
Yeah.
What were you going to say? 3 days after Ali lost to Holmes?
Ali lost to Holmes. He, what am I saying? He appeared at an event that President Jimmy Carter was at. Frank, I'm thinking of a story I want to write. Maybe you could help me out. Fighters who lost a fight very badly, and I'm not talking about when they were in their prime, and they got some sort of redemption later on in the way they lost afterwards, in the way they lost a rematch, like redemption. It wasn't as good as winning, but in a way it was. I'll give you an example.
Mancini against Bramble.
This is Pryce. Hello, Pryce. Yeah, hey, Pryce, you were sent the link. We're waiting for you to come on the show. Yeah, okay, you forgot, but now you know. Get to the link right now and we'll get you into the studio. Pryce, I'm on live now, so it's kind of, people are listening to me talking to you. I don't have you on speaker now, but you answered the email. You have the link. A link, okay, Pryce, hope to see you in a couple of minutes. Okay, take care. You know, why do people forget us? Christy Martin. I got to tell you, I didn't tell you this, Frank. She forgot she was supposed to come on our show. And all of a
Right.
sudden came on. I saw the private message from her later, like, oh, darn it, I don't believe it. I forgot. Frank, you'd think they'd be looking forward to coming on with us. You know what we are? We're like a team that free agents don't want to go to. They don't want to play for us, don't want any part of our team.
Why is that?
I don't know. Maybe because, as Ali said, I like your show. I like your style. Oh, there it goes. There's Pryce Taylor. Pryce, you were going to get chewed out after this show if you didn't come on. I know you feel you're going the future world heavyweight champion, but wait till you win the title before acting that way and blowing
Bryce,
us off. You're not in a position to blow us off yet. This is my
Bryce,
co-host, Frank Laterzo.
he was killing you. He said you have no chin. You can't
No, I
break an
didn't say
egg.
that. No,
He
no,
was
no.
killing you.
No,
He was
not
killing
true.
you.
Not true. You could watch the tape early in the show. But this is Pryce Taylor, everyone, unbeaten heavyweight, 10 fights. Actually, our producer on this show who sent you the link, he's from Detroit. The next, I don't know, you're going to box there again. Maybe you will, maybe you won't. You promoted Dimitri Salita. Salita Promotions likes to put on shows there. But we'll definitely have our producer, attend the show over there. Pryce, I want to congratulate you on your win, a little over a week ago against Michael Coffey, the biggest name on your record. Michael Coffey came in shape. He came in shape, gave it all he had.
And Michael Coffey was a prospect at one time, a big prospect.
True.
It went the distance, and you did a great job. I mean, you worked hard all 8 rounds. And tell us a little about that fight.
That fight, I knew before the fight, I knew, depending on his weight, what he was trying to do, right? And he came in 270. That's low for him because he's 6'6". He's 6'6". So I know that's his best weight he fought at was in the 70s. So I know he was coming to fight. So my game plan was the first round. I was just seeing what he was willing to throw. You always got to test the waters. And once I was able to throw my combos in, I knew he wasn't really brave enough to go in there and try to do what he wanted.
Well, did he talk a little smack to you before the fight, like say something like it's coffee time?
No, he didn't say any of that.
Now, you go ahead, Frank.
When you said he didn't want to exchange with you, you felt that your punches were bothering him, and he didn't want all the smoke, basically.
It's not that it was. Well, yeah, it was bothering, but I don't think that was the reason. It was more of he knew my skill set. He knows my skills because we talked before. And he was telling me about how one of the fighters back in the day, Nkosi Solomon, when he used to spar with him, and Nkosi would tell him about me. And he already knows my skill set and what I'm capable of. So I think that was a part of his, game plan. Just make sure he doesn't get knocked over the head.
Pryce, tell us this for the people that are listening and watching that have never seen you fight. Tell us a little bit about your style. If if there's any one that you may emulate, but what is your, break down your style for us.
I say just watching myself is like a hard style because compared to other fighters, it doesn't look, because I'm a heavyweight, so people want to see me look dangerous, but I don't know. It's hard to say because I'm throwing with all my might, but people keep telling me that I look lazy in there. But I don't know what lazy is because I'm actually hitting hard. So I'm actually punching people with power shots, and it's hard to explain to people that I'm actually fighting.
Well, no apologies. You're unbeaten in 10 fights, 6 stoppages. you've hit double-digit fights. Once a heavyweight hits double-digit fights and he's unbeaten in 10 fights, like you are, things start becoming serious now, little by little. I mean, not in little tiny steps, but more than that. Because a few more fights, maybe by next year, maybe at the end of even 2026, you wind up maybe getting world rated in the top 10 conceivably because your manager, Keith Sullivan, to me, easily one of the best managers in boxing, a brilliant guy. He plans to keep you busy.
Yeah.
And he tells me you love fighting. You're not one of the fighters who's apprehensive about fighting. Heck, you'd rather be in a real fight, he says, than to spar. That's the lust you actually have for fighting.
That's true.
And Pryce,
Joe Bergman has the question about your weight, Pryce. What's your ideal weight?
It's hard to say because I've been moving up and up. Because when I was in high school, my senior year, I was 225.
Wow. How tall are you?
I was 6'2" when I was in high school. Right now, I'm 6'4". I grew 2 inches. But my weight's been going up and up. So honestly, I don't know. I feel good. I feel agile. I mean, it doesn't look like I'm agile on camera just because my stomach. I don't know, but I think that's just my body type. It's hard to say. I never really had abs. I was always in shape. I was always strong. It's hard to say.
Pryce, I get the feeling you became a boxer because correct me if I'm wrong, because it's something that you did really well. Now, I read up you played basketball. You were starting to play a little college basketball. You were on the bench the first year, then you were supposed to play the second year. Then there was an incident or something, correct me if I'm wrong, where you handed in your laptop. It was supposed to be returned for you. And there was some foul play, apparently. The laptop wasn't returned. And then, it was kind of messy, that thing. That was at Corning College?
Yeah, my first year.
Yeah, how good let's say things worked out with the laptop or whatever, and you started and played basketball, your second year there. Would you have ever become a boxer? I mean, how good a basketball player were you?
I was decent. I was pretty good. I was up there. I just didn't know certain, I wasn't really good at handling the ball as well as I should have been because of my height. I've always been tall, so had to play the big man. I wasn't raised in a basketball like a elite basketball family, but my family did play basketball. We were, never went to the league or anything, didn't go to college, but we played basketball. Just I feel like if I had, the knowledge of, dribbling the ball a little bit, I would have went farther than I did. But I probably would have been boxing eventually, because I always like to fight. I just didn't want to get in trouble.
Let me ask you this: Do you watch a lot of boxing, mainly the heavyweights? And if you do, when you watch the heavyweights of today, and we all know their names, what goes through your mind when you see these guys?
Now it's easy. Now I know I can beat each and every one of them. It's possible because I know what it takes, and in the experience I've gained, fighting taller fighters.
Right.
Once you learn the little tricks,
Nuance.
the little tricks to fight a tall fighter, right?
Right.
Because they have to punch down. So for me, all I have to do is pick my shoulder up. Let that right hand bounce off my shoulder, depending on what stance they are. Let that right hand bounce off the shoulder. Stay close to them. Make sure you're able to slip the straight punches, because that's what they like to do. Those straight 1-2s, and it's easy. Go to the body. Their body is very weak.
Have you
Length and
talked
height
with
is only an
any
advantage if you let it be. If you cut, that can easily be neutralized. It's only an advantage if you can't get inside, but if you get inside, then it's a disadvantage.
Yeah, for them, yeah. Because
So, Pryce,
you just gotta know.
yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
Have you sparred with any big name heavyweights?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. We got
Who have you sparred with?
the first person I sparred with when I was amateur bum, when I was trash. um, Philip
You won a couple
Herkovich.
of New York Golden Glove titles, amongst other things. So you were a really good amateur fighter.
No, for sure. But I'm just being hard on myself. But
You
Philip,
sparred Hergovich?
yeah, Philip Herkovich was the first spar. Um, well, Big Baby. Honestly, no. Let me stop. Big Baby, Jarrell Miller.
Joel Miller, yeah.
Yeah. Uh, Earl Newman. So everybody comes to kids that has been in New York. I sparred Earl Newman. He's a pretty big name. Jarrell Miller. And then after that, Philip Herkovich. Um,
Yeah.
who else? Otto Wallen. I've sparred.
Other Wallen, yeah.
Um, Jared Anderson, Big Baby.
Oh, big, yeah, okay.
And right now he's on the come up. Damian Kanabi. He's Polish. He spars. He trains in New Jersey, Patterson.
What's it like hitting Big Baby? That's got to be hard to move, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. He actually has a
Now,
fight coming up, and we're gonna be sparring soon again. Get that work.
by the way, Price, correct me if I'm wrong, in 2 days, your birthday boy in 2 days.
Who?
You hit, it's December 31st. Is that your birthday?
No. October.
Oh, oh, okay, the information put down was wrong. But nevertheless, you got a little bit of a late start turning pro. Any concern of yours? Heavyweights develop later as is.
I wasn't worried about that. I knew that once I started getting the knowledge and learning the rules and everything, I realized that I could take my time. And once I heard of George Foreman, I definitely knew I could take my time.
Okay, something about your weight, Price. I
Yeah.
get the feeling you should be, correct me if I'm wrong, you should be fighting at a lower weight despite the success you had. Now, people are going to look at you different ways. They might look at you as being somewhat along the lines, and Frank would understand this perfectly, of being like a Greg Page. Very talented, but maybe not having the full drive. Now you have the drive in the ring. You put it out on the ring when you during your actual fights. No one can question that. Anyone who's watched your fight, you bring out maximum effort. No doubt about that. You're training. Have you trained as hard as you really could during your pro career?
During my pro career, for sure. Well, I always tell everybody I had an injury on my leg. It's very detrimental to my movement. So I haven't been able to run. That's why my weight had jumped up that much. Uh, you know, and I'm mostly muscle anyways. Um, so it didn't really affect me that much because I always had backup plans and I always trained for what if this happens, what if that happens. I always had
Yeah, weight is unimportant for heavyweights, in my opinion. I don't know the way Frank feels about it.
It's
You
got to be
know,
what they feel. It's not a body beautiful contest. It's what you feel the best at. I mean,
yeah.
Rocky Marciano could have weighed over 200 pounds, but he weighed 187 because he said he felt better at that. So some guys feel better at a higher weight. Some guys feel better at a lighter weight. I think only Price can answer that question, what he feels
yeah.
best at. And he might not even know yet.
Yeah, I don't even honestly. I might not. Yeah, like you said, I don't even know yet. But I do know. I do know. Um, there was an exercise I was doing called the muscle ups. Right. I
They're
trained
tough.
to. I trained to do muscle ups, and I sparred. Oh yeah, I sparred. You know, another name heavyweight. I don't want to say it because I might. Say what I did to him. So I wobbled him with one little touch. I didn't even try to punch him, and he got wobbled. So I think once I get back into training in my, my pull-ups, my calisthenics, and all that stuff, I think it doesn't matter about my weight as long as I'm able to punch fast. Keep my muscles loose and stay strong. I think
Am I
that's all that
correct,
matters.
Price? A muscle up is when you do a pull up and then you go over the bar and push yourself up.
Correct.
You can do those.
Not right now. Not right now. I used to be. Like 2 years ago. I was training to do that, and I was able to get to three. I was able to do three,
That's really impressive because they are tough to do.
and I was 260.
That's amazing. You could push that much weight around. So you got to be physically strong.
Yeah, yeah. So
Right.
once I get back to that,
You have a big legacy, big footsteps to follow to become heavyweight champion. Being from Brooklyn, people think of Mike Tyson, Riddick Bowe, Floyd Patterson, who won the world heavyweight championships. Do you embrace that, being the heir apparent in the law in the line of Brooklyn legends in the heavyweight division?
honestly, it doesn't really affect me because I'm not a big boxing fan until I started boxing. I was, I just started boxing, at 21, 2017. Uh, and honestly, that's more of a mental thing that would affect me just by having the pressure of, Brooklyn on my back. I feel like I don't try to pay attention to stuff like that because that's gonna hold me down into actually achieving those goals that I need to achieve.
Well, do you watch old fight films?
Mhm.
For example, Mike Tyson, Muhammad Ali, Sugar Ray Leonard, Sugar Ray Robinson, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Do you watch the films of the great
Oh,
fighters in the past? Do you compare yourself to any other great fighter in the past, thinking you fight like him or want to be like him, or you're just thinking I just want to be myself, couldn't care less what anyone did before?
no, no. So what I do, I watch and I steal. I watch and I steal and I make it my own. And I try to make my own style out of those, little tricks that people do because um at the end of the day, I can't just have one style because nowadays there's so many styles. Everybody's watching, you know, the old the old fighters back in the day, and they're taking those styles and
Let, Price,
uh,
let me ask you this.
yeah.
I've got the impression, and I can't say this for sure, but it's just something that sometimes when something goes off in my head and I can't shut it off, I get the impression today that a lot of current fighters don't like to spar. And to me, if when I was an amateur, when I went to the gym, if I didn't spar, I didn't count that as training. Tell me about your sparring, how often that you do it, and what do you look to get out of it? And like say when you're preparing for a fight, how many days a week do you spar?
Oh yeah, that's a good question because I'm the guy that likes to spar rather than run. I rather spar than work out. Cause sparring is what's gonna help me be a good fighter. If I'm doing all this training and everything, yeah, I'll get stronger. But if I don't know how to fight in certain situations, do certain movements in certain situations, I'm not gonna be able to win the fight. That's
Right.
my mindset. I feel like the most important part of boxing training is sparring. You have to know how to
I
fight.
agree. I agree with that because the bags don't hit back. You have to be pressure tested in the heat of the moment. The only thing I will say about the training and the running is that does help you prepare your body to get you in
Yeah,
shape so
no,
you
100%.
can spar and do the things you have to do.
100%, but that is 10% of boxing. That's what I'm trying to say to people that's trying to be a great boxer. That shouldn't be your main focus. Your main focus should be not getting hit. And in order to not get hit, you have to get hit. Sometimes because you're gonna have to go against someone that's just as good as you in the gym. And in order to, you have to have the competitiveness to do better and be better. And running is not going to make you a better person. It's not going to make you better at slipping. Running is not going to make you better
Well,
at.
no, but if your leg's in better shape, yeah, it factors into it.
Nah, I mean, yeah, but that's not gonna. If you don't know how to do it, then there's no point in running.
But I
Right?
think the point Jack's making, Bryce, is it's easier to pick up the nuances if you're in condition and you don't have to worry about that when you're training. That's what I think he
Yeah,
meant.
that's true. Yeah, no, no, okay, yeah, but also, yeah, no, no, no. Sorry, not to say but, um, I would say it like this. Think about it like this, right? If me as a someone that always spars, right, and someone that rather work out than spar because they want to take their time, they want to, feel like they're in shape. If they was to stop training for 2 years, if we both would stop training for 2 years straight, I still have the capacity and I'll be able to have the instincts of sparring other than the other person because they're not used to sparring.
I agree. If you can only do one, sparring's better.
Yeah, that's what I'm. Yeah, so it's like combat. You have to be combat ready. You can't it's like basketball. Basketball is the greatest example because when you're because when you play basketball, you're not getting hit in the face, but we do a lot of scrimmaging, right? Scrimmaging is sparring, if compared,
Right.
right? We do a lot of
But,
scrimmaging.
but,
You got
but
to know, huh? Go
it
ahead.
depends how you treat sparring, Price.
Yeah. So
I
yeah.
mean, and
So
fighters
also,
treat it
yes.
differently. Frank was in Philadelphia gyms when he fought as amateurs, and he had a lot of great pros there. Frank would tell me, like Dwight Muhammad Qawi, Michael Spinks, and some of them had different gears. Like
Yeah.
Dwight Muhammad Qawi, Frank, like you told me, would go very hard. Michael Spinks would do just enough to keep you in line. And
Yeah.
Jerry Cooney was known to go extra hard on fighters. Another fighter, another top-notch champions, fighters,
Yeah.
they would just treat it as an easy-going gym workout and pull their punches. Do you fall in between those two schools of thought? Or do you
Right.
believe
Okay.
you have to go really hard in the gym or what?
Okay. So yeah. So I'm the type of person for sparring, right? It doesn't have to be hard every sparring. I'd say the best time you do two hard sparrings of the week, right? You get someone that's nowhere near your level. You get them for head movement, working on defense. You get someone like average your level, and you work on throwing certain combos. Try not to hit them too hard because you still need them because you gotta work on what punches work on people. What punches work on people that are trying to hit you back, right? So people always tell me, don't push your punches, but when I push my punches, my opponent is falling backwards, so now they can't throw a counter, right? That's why I throw some of my punches are pushes because I don't want them to be able to counter me, right? I have some punches where I throw an uppercut and I slip, right? I slip with the same hand I punched, right? I punch, boom, like Mike Tyson, right? And certain punches when I stab to the body, right? You can only learn the way I stab to the body by sparring because when I throw my stab, I don't only just stab, I throw a feint with my right hand. I throw my feint with the right hand because you don't want to get hit with this right hand, right? Clean. It don't want to be clean. So, and I throw that feint, their hands has to go up. The hands have to go up, and I stab that body. So now they go right back down, and I can throw an uppercut or I can throw a straight right. I think
You're
it's weird.
muted, Jack.
Price is a thinking man's fighter, which goes against the stereotype of what people think heavyweights should be. They think heavyweights, got to be these big punches, a bunch of knockouts. Price is, using his head in the ring. I mean, scientifically, which is a little different for heavyweights. Let me just ask you about studying opponents on tape. I mean, is that something you do? I know fighters are different. Michael Spinks would tell me he never liked watching an opponent on tape. He liked figuring things out as he'd go along. Do you like watching any potential opponent, if you sign for a fight on tape to have an idea of his tendencies before you actually get in the ring with them?
It actually I like watching film because Depending on the fighter, right? If I know he's actually, talking to town, yeah, I'm gonna watch him. But if he's just someone that I have to, build my record, I usually didn't like those past 9 fights. I didn't really watch film, right? Coffee, I watched him. I watched film on him because I wanted to see his fights. I like watching boxing. I like to just watch. It wasn't to analyze him. I already seen him fight before, and I seen when he lost. His first loss, I watched that, and I didn't even know of him. Right? I knew the person he lost to, which was Johnny Rice. I knew Johnny Rice, and that was a good fight with Johnny Rice. But I like to watch boxing just in general. I'm a fan. I rather watch boxing. I rather watch sparring, than to work out a hard work than to have a hard workout. I don't get me wrong, I work out. Don't get me wrong, I work out, but I'd rather watch sparring. It doesn't matter who's sparring. It could be two amateurs that are novice, right? They might do something that they don't even know they did. They did on instinct, and I could take that and I could make it into my own move.
I want to spar Jack, Pryce. Will you watch that?
We're a
I would
little too
definitely
old
watch
at
I
that.
this
want to spar
point.
Jack.
I would 100% watch that for sure.
Two old men.
We only have a couple of minutes, Price, but very quickly, the heavyweight picture, how does it look to you right now? I mean, what do you see going forward in your career?
Um, Big things
Wins,
for sure.
victories,
Yeah,
success,
100%.
So
right?
Success.
who do you see yourself fighting in the next 18 months, okay?
18 months. 18
2
months.
years, the next couple of years. Let's
I'd
stretch
say
it a little.
I'd say the first person I'll probably fight, first big name, maybe that's a good question. Because I wanna wait
How
to
long
fight.
is it going to take you to get ready for the big guys like Alexander Usyk,
Oh,
Tyson
oh.
Fury,
No, those
etc.?
guys, I'm ready right now, but I wanna make a lot of money, right? That's the thing.
You feel you could hang with Usyk and actually beat him right now?
Yeah, yeah.
Me too, Richard. Me too.
The reason I'm saying this is because I have power and I have, like you said, you already know I'm
Price, you're going
thinking.
to have to do your road work if you're going to be going to that with the Usyk now. You can't just spar.
I
And,
can tell you, what I would do right now with him.
go ahead.
With who,
Right? Like I
Usyk?
said, the most important punch is going to the body, right? I like
On
to
Usyk,
stab to the
yes.
body. Yes, I'm stabbing that body, right? Because I'm great at stabbing the body and it opens up the head, right? So now if he tries to counter my stab to the body, all I have to do is throw a hook, right? Because he's lefty, right? So all I had to
Yep.
do is throw a hook with my right hand, and he's not gonna. I might miss, but he's not gonna counter me because I'm coming back. I'm still here. All I have to do is push him back. Yeah, he might be a little faster, but I hit harder, right? And he's not
Okay,
gonna risk. He's not gonna
great.
risk me punching him just to get a little tap in.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay, Price.
God
So
bless you, and
I
I hope
think
you get to that point.
For sure.
we pretty much have to wrap up the show, but you fantastic guest. As the victories pile during your career, we want you to keep coming back. As your name grows, we want you to keep coming back. And don't pull a Muhammad Ali on Frank and myself later on by saying I like your show, I like your style, but you pay so low, I won't be back for a while. We don't want to hear any of that down the line, though. You've been great, and we'll have you back in the future, and that big things lie ahead for you. Thanks
Thank
a
you.
lot. Pryce Taylor, unbeaten heavyweight, everyone.
Take care,
Take care,
Pryce.
Frank.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Richard K, set it up. Set me and the Philly sports guy up. He's been ducking me.
Okay, we have 1 minute left. Frank, quickly sum up Pryce Taylor.
He's in a tough division, Jack. I don't like that he doesn't eat, sleep, and train. Eat, sleep, and drink boxing. But he seems like he has a good head on his shoulders, and he knows what's in front of him. A lot of hard
He's
work.
confident. He's confident. Okay.
And I
So
like
we'll
that he
talk about
spars. I like that he puts a premium on sparring. I agree with you. You got to run. You got to get your body in shape to spar. But a lot of heavyweights are too lazy to spar.
Frank, last thing, and make it very quick because we have to go off prediction tonight's game, Rams and Falcons. Give me a score.
I don't know about the score, Jack. The Rams win, and the Ohio State Buckeyes and Illinois Hoosiers win. Two biggest locks of the year.
Okay.
This
Good night,
week.
everyone. See you in 2026. See you all next year.